Hey there guys, today we're going to learn how to both add positive and negative numbers. I think the most important part where we should begin here is learning the symbol for adding. Now, the symbol for adding is a plus sign. Now, this is its symbol, and its word form is adding. And as we talked in the previous video, there are different numbers, and one of the operations we can perform on those numbers is an operation called adding. Now, you can add whole numbers, you can add real numbers, you can add negative numbers with positive numbers, you can add numbers. So basically adding is just, you're basically just traveling over the number line. Let's say, we have a number line here and we're at 0, and we start off counting up and we go up and we keep on going. Okay, now let's say we have some sort of operation that we want. Let's say we want to add 1 plus 2. Okay? So what should we do here? We're basically traveling over the number. So we know we have 1 here. So we're starting at 1 on the number line. And we're adding 2 to that number right here. We're adding 2. So we're basically hopping 2 spaces on the number line. And where do we end up here? We end up at 3. So 1 plus 2 equals 3. Now, you can do this with negative numbers as well, but it's a little bit different. So let's say, we start at 1 again, and now we add -1. Now, this is different because what we did before was we start at 1, and we'll do the same thing here again. We'll start at 1, but this is different. Now we're adding a -1, and this will come in the subtraction video, but this is equivalent to 1 minus 1 because of this subtraction, this negative sign here. So what we're going, instead of going forwards, we're not adding numbers, we're actually going backwards. So we go backwards 1 spot, and where do we end up? We end up at 0. So when you add positive numbers, when you add negative numbers to positive numbers, you'll go backwards on the number line from its respective position. Now, let's explore what happens if you add 2 negative numbers. So let's say you take 1 plus -1 plus -1. So what do you think would happen here? Well, let's look here. Basically, what should we do? We look at our first number, and we're starting at -1. But what are we adding here? We're adding another -1. So we know with this little sign here, this is equivalent to 1, -1, minus 1. So what does this mean? This means that you start at 1 and you go back another position. So where do we end up? We end up at -2. So what does that say when you add a negative number to a negative number? Well, you go further on the number line. You go that way. You approach negative infinity. Well, let's look at the situation where you're taking a negative number, let's say -2, and you're adding 3. So what is this equal to? Well, again, let's go on the number line, and let's start at -2. So we're starting at -2, like we are right here, and now we're going up 3 positions from -2. So we go 1, 2, 3. Where did we end up? We ended up at 1. So when you add positive numbers to negative numbers, you're going this way. You're going more positive towards 0. So yeah, basically what you should get out of adding is a couple things. You should get that 1 when you add 2 positive numbers. When you add 2 positive numbers, you'll always increase. You always go that way. Now, in the situation where you add a positive number to a negative number, you'll go this way as well. Now, in the situation where you add 2 negative numbers, you'll become more negative, so you'll go this way. And in my next video for subtraction, it will make more sense why, if you write something like 2 plus -3, that's equivalent to 2 minus 3, which is equal to -1. So I'll explain that further in the next video. Thank you for watching, and comment on this video.